Okay. I got it going. I'm so excited. So here we are at the Crystal Clear Point Studios, sponsored by Miles of Smiles Entertainment and Events. And we have Dr. Matthew Pierce, and we have apothecary and expert Luann Morris, and we have me, the comic relief, Deborah Colleen Rose. And Matthew, would you please introduce our guest today?
Absolutely. I am so honored to have Mavi Helmer with us today. I mean, she is just one of those people that you meet her once and you fall in love with her. She has just this amazing spirit, this healing energy that it seems just like she kind of knows what you want to talk about and kind of knows who you are when she first starts talking with you. And then it just kind of cascades from there. I mean, I've had deep conversations with her about the heart healing that she does and the ceremonies that she does to help people heal that inner child, that inner energy that is kind of off. God, we've had conversations about toxic masculinity and embracing the feminine divine and embracing the feminine or the masculine divine, all of that. And I just love her. I mean, Mavi is known the healer of hearts. And I just want to say thank you, Mavi, for being with us today. So, why don't you
Beautiful.
introduce yourself? Why don't you tell us kind of what you're all about? Where did you get the name Healer of Hearts?
Hi, everybody. To begin with, I'd like to thank you very much to all of you for this invitation. It's an honor to connect with these beautiful beings and with everybody who will be hopefully listening our podcast, which I know for sure they will. Anyway, I've been doing this work for over 25 years, and I had this gift since childhood. However, I honed these gifts uh, when I was 21. I have many certifications of energy healing, and I have become also a shaman. And I've been doing what I love since I was a child. I always wanted to help others. What do? I didn't understand. Having grown up as a spiritually connected to Catholic religion, I didn't understand many things. I always protest a few things I didn't understand, of course, and then that's how I expanded into learning many other traditions. I'm a founder of a Buddhist center here in Dallas as well. I study with the Dalai Lama, and I can go with lots of things and on. But what's important for us is that we are here now, and we have been able to connect in this divine timing.
I love the way you said that. That is so awesome. I really do, because that to me is the epitome of saying, I am in the moment. I am living in the moment. I'm not my past. I am not my future. I am me right here. That is beautiful.
Thank you. And that's exactly what this is what we are. Many people are talking about changes, what's happening here, what's happening there, what's going on with me. And being in the moment and fully present is very, very important, especially nowadays, because basically, and this year basically is about endings. We cannot go against the current of the changes that are going on, but that we don't understand fully, but rather we need to ride like a flowing river, softly, smoothly, you know? We have to try to do the best we can because nowadays life is happening on the now. It's
Mhm.
what's going on. We don't have a foundation like we used to have a year ago. Oh, I know for sure I'm going to work. I know for sure I'm going to be married. I know for sure this and that. There is so much uncertainty because we are learning to create in the moment. And it's very important to shift the old paradigms of thinking, or thinking especially, in our own self-limitations. And what's interesting about recently, this weekend, I had a cacao ceremony. The common denominator of the people who wanted to get the healing through this cacao ceremony was fear and uncertainty.
Mhm.
All of us are going through that.
Yes.
All of us. But also to deal with this, we have to get some tools. We have to reach out each other to create our family, to create our circle that will help us to go through these changes. Like example now, this is a divine connection for me. Just perfect. I didn't ask anything else, but I just aligned with that desire that, well, whatever I have to say in some way helps and guides others.
Mhm.
Because in reality, they're not others. We're getting into the more collective mind thinking, and that entitles us as guides, as teachers, as Matthew, as Luan, as you, Deborah, that we've already been doing this for a little while. We have to take the stand. We have to take the stick, basically, right? And just claim our power of being these guides that we are. We are here. There are going to be interferences. There are going to be lots of things that there are people not going to like. It doesn't matter. You just do what you need to do. And that's what I think is important nowadays.
Well, you bring up a
I think,
question for me.
go ahead, Deborah.
Talking about that we're coming to an end. So, my thing is that is is there an overlap? If there's an ending, there's going to be a beginning, right? So is it like we ride the ending out and then all of a sudden we step into the beginning, or do they overlap? And do we have the continual ending while we also have the beginning of the beginning? Does that
From
make
the,
sense?
yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I'm glad you're saying that. When what it is, we are living in different levels or dimensional paradigms. Okay, when we go to sleep, we are living in a different dimension. And similarly, right here, even though we are looking in this physical level, lots of things are happening here that we're not seeing with the physical eye. So in a way, in a sense, yes, I don't like dying, but just saying that it's evolving. Let's say
Hmm.
the evolution, sorry about that. Let's think of this evolution, which it has no ending nor beginning. Evolution is a continuous thing of life, of the
Right.
universe, of a spirit. Evolution, because we say the ending of dying when we think is dead, right? No, because always there is the, like you said, the overlap that is continuing. There is nothing that really ends. There is nothing really begins. It's always ever present. That's the main thing that we
So
have to understand.
I'm glad the way that you explain that, because the way I hear that and receive it, that means that if I'm in a point where something is coming to an end and it's causing me stress or it's causing me to be fearful, all I need to do is pivot. I just pivot. And then that takes my focus away from that one item. And there's all these other focal points and other things that I can focus on to take me away from that. And they're all happening simultaneously.
Exactly. It's what you're choosing at the moment because we only have one thought at the time, right?
Right.
So it's what you're focusing on. So you can either see it like as an opportunity by just aligning with that thought, with that vision that you have. And most of all, what this particular time is asking us to really embrace uncertainty, but also to have clarity of who we are,
Mm-hmm.
because we are the creators. The mind, the mind is the key, the thoughts that we are thinking, because as we all know, that energy is thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
vibrations. And so,
Yeah.
so the thing is, the paradigm that we are changing is stop thinking on the past or start creating the future. All we have is in the now, because when you think of the past, you're thinking in the now. And when you're thinking of the future, you're also thinking in the now. Therefore, it's only the now, and therefore you can change your perspective as how you wish. Now, the reason is That's not so easy because we haven't been training the mind. We're used to follow the mind like this. And what I ask is, do you drive the car or the car drives you?
Right. Mhm.
Um,
Right?
yeah.
And so similarly, we haven't learned to tap into our power. Power is just one energy as well that we can use it for good or for not so good, right? We can use only two ways. Power is neutral.
So Mavi, let
Everybody,
me ask you. Let me ask you just for clarification, because I mean, I'm a firm believer that our past is our memories. That I mean, they happen, but they don't exist anymore. Our future is our imagination, and that means that we're making it up. Okay, but the right now is like in this very, very moment. Okay, the thing that I have started seeing, especially in the United States right now, are the people are getting so caught up in everything that's happening right now, right now, right now, that they can't detach themselves to get back to themselves.
I
Like
understand.
they think their now is so tied up in everything that's going on, and that's just not the case. What do you have to say to people that like how do we get back? How do we get back to us?
With the breath, breathe in to bring in the awareness of who you are. Remember, the mind works very closely with the element of air. Air, air. That's what we say airheaded. Because the wind blows here and there and here and there. And that's what the mind does. However, when you bring the awareness to your breath, just if you breathe in, automatically will place you in the now, in here, right? And that's
Mhm.
when you start to bring the awareness and the clarity where I am, because most of us are in our heads, are thinking about lots of thinking and thinking, right? A lot like thinking. For example, what I'm going to cook tomorrow, but I don't have this, maybe I should do this, and lots of chaos we create in the mental world, right? We live in the mental world, especially in the United States, and that's what the power is, right?
Mhm.
Thinking. A spirit is not about thinking. I tell you when I tell you my clients to recognize two things. When you are in the mental realm versus when you're in the spiritual realm where you can create from. When you're in the mental realm, what you do is the mental always want to know who, where, why, right? Wants to know all the specifics. There's no way it doesn't want to know, but the spirit knows, right? Like a mother knows, like, oh, something is going on here. How does she knows that? That's the intuition, that's the power from within, not the power of the mind, but that's the great power that we all have, and we call it intuition. So when we come from the head, from the thoughts into breath of the awareness, it's a constant, it's got to be a constant reminder. We step out of our physical body. So
So,
nowadays, what's important, it is very important for us to really learn how to ground. That's the key.
mhm.
Learn to ground. When you're grounded, you're powerful. You got to learn to ground like a beautiful mountain that no matter the wind is coming like that, you are unshakable and you cannot move from there, but you have a good foundation. Regardless what you're doing, you're not going to be fearful because fears
I
are
mean, what were
only
you going to say?
I was just going to tell her that ask her, then the best advice we can give to people who feel they're in chaos is just to take a moment to close their eyes and breathe. Is that the best advice?
yes.
Is there any kind of breath they need to concentrate on, or just in and out and relax?
this is the way how I put it. God loves simplicity.
Oh.
It
Say that
really
one more
does.
time. I really want to emphasize that. God
God
loves, say that again.
loves simplicity.
In the nose, out the nose.
That's it.
That's what I tell everybody.
Yes.
It physically relaxes the face to breathe out the nose. It relaxes all of these muscles here. If you have to blow out of your mouth, most people go, and now they've tightened all this up, and it defeats the whole purpose. In the nose, out the nose. So
And
I
so
like the way you said that.
automatic,
That's so good.
yes, exactly. So automatically, all of us, we can do this now. Where is your breath going or coming from? Through the nostrils. You don't have to focus, but it's just like, oh, it feels cold now, right? Like a Rudolph nose. Not just kidding.
Well, and I tell my clients a lot, you need to practice getting out in nature and putting your feet in the grass. And then I try to tell them, do you know what grounding means? Because
Yes,
I think people are not in touch with what's going on around them at all.
yes, yes.
Let me, what kind of grounding practices? I mean, I'm kind of interested. What grounding practices does everybody here kind of do? Everybody has something different. What are your grounding practices?
Well, there are very several ways that we can do the grounding. But mainly, what I'm finding out is that people get discouraged to do anything else because they think they have to devote hours and they feel so not capable of holding a thought for a minute, right?
Hmm.
I just tell them, just go back, touch your heart, close your eyes, and just breathe. I want you to become aware of how your heart feels. Every breath, the heart goes up, the heart goes down. Just fully on your heart. And see automatically that brings you back.
Yeah.
And it centers you, right? Now, the most complicated way, if you want to make it complicated, it's just imagine yourself that you're growing roots as a tree buried down the earth, right? But
Hmm.
I just leave it there, but bringing back intentionally that energy from earth through your soul, through the soles of your feet, down into your first chakra. Simple as that. Now, that's great, right? But now, as you all know, we're also dealing with a lots of the collective fear.
Hmm.
I don't know if you guys noticed this. All of a sudden, you feel like you are just tense, you're nervous, you're stressed. Some of it is not even yours.
Mm.
Some of those fears are not 100% yours. What's happening is the collective is affecting us because we are so interrelated by the light that we are, right? Think
Hmm.
of like a spider web, right? The spider web, very thin thing. That's what we are. It's a network, all of us. Now we're connected to those. We're learning from each other. We don't have to do it consciously, but that's the way you do it. And so the next step for that, besides grounding, which is simple, it will be putting the eggshell that I will call the web of protection or inside the bowl, like you're inside the sun. Yeah, it's necessary in order for you to have your own body, in order to have your own emotions and process it as you want to process.
Mavi, I'm going to be honest with you. I have a lot of clients that if I told them that, they go, I don't know how to do that or I can't do that because of their mental focus. Okay.
Yeah.
And so um I don't know how you deal with that, but what I do is I meet them on their own terms. I don't try to say, okay, you've got to learn to do this, but so if they're mentally focused on what's going on and they're overachievers when it comes to mental gymnastics, I teach them how to reframe. So if I teach you take like a statement like, okay, our political system is screwed. We'll just make it like that. And so I'm like, okay, say that a different way. And it doesn't even have to be positive, but say it a different way. So our political system is under change, totally different. Yeah,
Mhm.
there's a lot of things going on, but sometimes people just can't get into the breathing, they can't get into the grounding because they cannot get past their own brain. So, do you have a way that you approach those mental people in
Absolutely, absolutely. We give them the same medicine, mental, right? For example, I love to play this way. I will suggest, like, many people, they think they need to touch, they need to feel to know that exists. That's number one of the mind, right? But they do not understand how the energy works. For example, if we do this, right? All of us, just do this.
Mhm.
I invite you to do it with me because we are all going to help others. Very, very good,
I'm
strong,
starting a fire?
warm. Exactly. Now I want you just to separate it a little bit, little bit. What do you feel?
Still feel it.
Yeah. What
Still
is
feel
it?
it.
It's the vibration. What is it? But it's something, right? Okay. Did it take a belief to create that? It didn't. And so I explained the energy in terms of this self-realization. They didn't have to see in order to feel, did they?
Mm-mm.
No. So now that you understand, that's what the thoughts are made of, right? Energy. So since it's that, do you know how to think, of course. All of us do, right? We're not dead bodies. So tell them, I'd like for you to imagine, let's say, an outrageous thing, like a pink elephant. Close your eyes. Imagine a pink elephant on top of your head. Sure, there you go. Now convert that into beautiful sun. Just imagine now how it feels like. Is it warm? Is it vibrating? Or you feel just a certain level of peace? What is it? Can be anything to anybody because we all have different levels, different openings of gifts that are happening in the now. And from
One of
there,
the things that I teach as far as like meditation and grounding and things like that, because I'm kind of with Deborah on this, is that I have people that are just right here. They
yes.
can't get out of this.
Mhm.
And one of the things that we studied in school is that we are left brain, right brain type people. Like we're either making things up or we're figuring things out. And so one of my professors said this: if someone has difficulties in getting present and actually just experiencing the experience, have them breathe, number one, but have them count, number two. And so if you're breathing in, if you're imagining the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, no creative process can actually come into that process. So you're automatically resetting the brain to be able to be with that, be with that thought. Um, and it helps calm people down because they're not making anything up,
Okay.
So I mean, I get exactly what you're saying, but I have people that were like, I can't meditate. I can't do it. I can't sit down. I can't do
Yes.
this. And I was like,
No.
can you count to four?
Yeah,
You
there
know?
you go. See, that's a great way to do it because the mind works in only in one direction, right? It cannot go in so many directions. It can only go in one point, right? And that's a great way to do it. That's why also like hypnosis helps. They always take you down to 10, 9. They're trying to help you to focus the mind into something or count the sheeps, right? When you cannot sleep. Same. Because the mind needs to be trained. And you help them by giving that suggestion. That's a beautiful way to do it when they're very mental and stuff like that, and they just don't understand. At least help them with that to become aware. Just breathe. Simple as that.
I'm
Just
reading.
breathe. I want you to feel your heart is expanding and just collapsing, expanding and collapsing. How are you feeling now? Yeah, I feel better.
I'm reading a book right now that I find very intriguing about how to deal with depression and anxiety, which is so apropos for what we're doing and talking about right now. And one of the things that it's describing that I love the way how they're handling it, it says that we actually build neural highways in our mind because every time we think a negative thought, that's a lane in the highway. You say it out loud, it gets wider. You say it again, you add second lane to it. And we completely keep doing this over and over and over to sometimes we have a 20-lane highway. And the only way to redo that is to start stating the obvious opposite. So when you feel anxious, like if your spouse is late getting home at night, instead of saying, oh my God, they've had a wreck, okay, say, oh, well, they're just running late. I hope they're having a good time. And you start unpaving those highways. Now, I did something similar for years, but I made it worse and then I made it better. So like when Scott would be late getting home, I would say he's dead and I'd plan his funeral. And knowing that I could get through that process and I could manage that and get through it, then I was like, okay, I'm good. I can handle anything, you know. But
Yes.
it was a complicated way of doing it, but it's the same process of reformatting that neural highway that we have in our mind. So, uh,
That's a beautiful way to describe it. Thank you. Yes, Deborah, it
it,
is.
well, it made so much sense to me because, I think that as a society, we all are in our heads way too much. And I see people, and I'll be blunt, that they think that they're spiritually progressed. Let's use that term, progressed. They know the motions, they know the steps, but they're not feeling them and they're not
Yeah,
involved. It's a checklist. Breathe, grounded, done.
yeah.
And but it doesn't impact them. And then they wonder why they don't feel better.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? I think all the subjects about branding and the way how we teach others how to ground stuff, all becomes mind training, which is very important. And again, goes back, who is driving the car? Who's driving your car? The moment you tell the man, well, I'm going to sit down here even for a minute, then there you go. And people cannot do it. Okay, can you take 3 breaths on this? Yes, I can. Start with that. Start with one. Start with one at least, and then
Hmm.
build upon it. Build upon it. Because remember, the mind is a very powerful tool. In many religions, is depicted as the elephant.
Mm.
Elephant, very powerful, but when it goes crazy, cause massive destruction and gets very powerful. And then it's also depicted as the monkey mind, as the mind, right? As the monkey, because the monkeys goes all over, right? Like that. And that's why many people say the monkey mind.
Well, and what
So,
people
Yes.
forget is that while the mind is so powerful, as you have told us, and you're absolutely correct, we're even stronger though because we have the capability of controlling that mind. And I think that's where people get lost. They don't know how much power and control that they can exert over themselves. They feel like they victimize themselves, is what they do.
With their own thoughts.
Yes.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
So the one thing that I love about this podcast, and Mavi, you probably don't know this, but
Uh-oh.
um,
Uh-oh.
this is talking about the mind. Okay, no, seriously, it's talking about the mind. You have a Catholic, you have a witch, and you have a Christian mystic that is on the show. But we agree. We don't go into each other's business and say, no, you're wrong. Absolutely not. No way, no way. But it's about that mind. It's about having that community sense of we want to work together. We want to have the best happening, the best things happen to for community, you
Mhm.
know? And so, thank you for being a part of that. And I, I really appreciate it.
It's such an
But
honor.
I think that that's kind of the state that the world is in right now, is that we're like, well, wait a second, there's not that many differences.
No,
As much as people are trying to point and say, this is different, this is different, this is different, I think there's an awakening happening that's going, you know what? We're not so different. We're
no,
suffering the same way.
So
absolutely. I'm so glad you said that. Did you want to talk? I'm sorry, did I interrupt anybody?
no, no, no.
Mm.
I just want. I'm like a kid, Mavi. I get excited.
Me too, you can tell. I'm so happy about this.
I want to know what a cacao ceremony is. How do you do it, and what happens?
That's brilliant.
Well, talking about cacao, cacao has been used by many shamans for many centuries in sacred ceremonies. Okay. And in the Mayan or Aztec tradition was considered the elixir of the gods. Why? Because cacao itself is very, very pure. When it's in its pure state, the vibration of it is extremely high, and its content of its substance, its essence, creates this is charged with minerals, these things that the mind needs.
Hmm.
It's not like peyote or any of that stuff. This is different, okay? This is not addictive in any level. It gets very powerful because everything is about vibration. So when you do a cacao ceremony, you need to learn how to prepare it. You need to think in terms that everything is alive. You're not separated from cacao yourself because you're perceiving the cacao, because you're creating the cacao.
So is it like an extension of yourself or a joining of yourself?
We can
Mm.
call both. I'm going to just be very specific on this, and thanks for asking that, because I want to go to another new level of what it
Good,
is.
good.
What Math mentioned about the separation, okay? There is not such a separation of the object and the subject. Because the moment is not the subject, the object cannot exist by itself.
Okay.
So whatever you create in from the mind, that's what it is. That's what it becomes.
Mm.
So the essence of the cacao, basically as a fruit, becomes an extension of what you want to make it happen, like a magician, right? You put in the intention, you make all the energy healing, whatever you connect with, what's the purpose of the cacao, right? And that, with that charge, then people, I invite them to drink the cacao, and it just happens like magic because it's a heart opener.
Mm.
The cacao is the best thing that can happen, especially nowadays, because we're letting it go of power, patriarchal, like I have discussed with Matt. Patriarchal is all about power. Mine, 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 United States. Oh, beautiful. Mine, mine, power, power, power. But it has happened. That's a patriarchal, right? But now we are basically in an imbalance because no heart, no compassion. for one to another, no connection one to another. We have forgotten nature. We have forgotten how to feel for each other. We have abandoned our own hearts, as a matter of fact. How many times have you seen or have you go in that? Because we think only in terms of power. We only think in terms like, oh, it's just a heart. I'm just blood and bones. It's not what it is. We're entering into this dimension, which is the heart, to know your spiritual self. And we have closed our hearts because we have been hurt before. I don't know how to connect with others anymore. I'm not afraid to connect. I'm afraid to love again to somebody else because I'm being hurt.
Well, we're seeing that right now as a not just as individuals, but as a group.
Mhm.
Who has the power? Where is my power? They took my power away from me. They're exerting their power. I mean, that's what we're seeing as that's creating all this fear on social media and in the news is and it's us, but here's what's funny as because it's like it's us versus them versus us in the middle going, hey guys, let's all back up and let's take a little bit of this, let's take a little bit of this and put it together. And the people in the middle seem to be like the majority, but no one's listening.
No, because they're not ready. They're not ready. Many people are not so ready. Many people only align with what they are ready to be or vibrate with. Alignment is very, very important.
So, Mavi, what if people like don't know where their alignment is? I mean, because I'm being very serious because, like right now, I know that Deborah, you're looking. I mean, you've started that your group, okay? And I've had two other people that have contacted me, and they are starting their groups. And it seems that people are giving us like opportunities to align. So how do we like inspire people to align, to create that community?
By accepting each other's differences
Hmm.
and
Well,
by
right
knowing that
here.
by the common denominator is the love and the heart that we have in each other. And this precious moment, this precious time, sacred time, if you really see it that way, this appointment that we have in some levels, it didn't happen today. It didn't happen the moment you invited me, Math. It happened way before. Otherwise, this wouldn't be done.
Hmm.
It happened. It was it's all predestined. Our hearts will guide to us to where we need to be if we are open to it. When we are open.
The being open to it, I think, is so accurate because and not trying to put predisposed ideas or definitions because for me, Matthew called me earlier the Christian mystic of the group. And so my group is about studying Christian mysticism, but most people go, we know, that what, they think they know what that is. They have no idea what it is. Christian mystics or anybody who is seeking to have a closer relationship with God on a spiritual level. It's about having that oneness with God. That's what Christian mysticism is. That's all it is. It's Gnosticism in its purest form. And yes, it utilizes the spiritual gifts that are outlined in the Bible, but my whole thing is that if I'm getting closer to God, that's going to allow me to embrace more people, not exclude more people. Because if you're looking for God, and I'm looking for God, and Luann's looking for God, and Matthew's looking for God, we might use different words, but we're on the same path. We just may be in different places. So I feel like if people understand where I'm coming from with this group, they know they fit there if they have an interest in growing,
Yeah.
you know. But the hurdle is, and it's this way for most of the groups, I see it with a lot of different groups, is getting people to understand what it is that they're trying to do or how they define themselves, and instead of having these predisposed ideas. And the best example, I'm guilty of it, is I've been reading about all this mysticism here now for several years, and I went on Chat GBT. I'm all about AI lately, and I'm like, okay, Chat GBT, what is the most mystical church denomination in the Christian denomination? And it says the Catholic Church. I went, what?
Interesting.
That
Mhm.
can't be true. But when it went on to explain it, I'm like, okay, I get that. Does that resonate with me? No. The Catholic Church does not resonate with me. But the generic art and definition and all that did. But then that's the second part of what I wanted to bring up. You have the people that say, this is what we are, but this is what they do, and they're not the same thing.
No,
But
there's
this
no
is the thing.
congruency.
But this is the thing. If we really start bypassing and dissolving what we believe we are only spirit,
Mhm.
not only like an empty box through which spirit, God, whatever you want to call, is experiencing the world outside. So in reality, these things or all other things are distractions and also for our own entertainment. Because just imagine a world with only one flavor of ice cream. How boring would it be?
I
And
don't know. You're talking to someone who likes vanilla a lot. I like vanilla.
but this is the way how I see about different traditions and different denominations, spiritual denominations, right? I see God as the ice cream shop, beautiful, right? And it has different flavors of ice cream. Regardless the flavor, man might like chocolate, you like vanilla, and she likes strawberry, right? And so on. You choose which flavor you like. Nevertheless, still ice cream. You choose the
I
flavor
love
that you
that.
like.
I
You
love
choose,
that. And
you choose.
Mavi, I'm going to steal that. Because that kind of sums it up. I mean, let me share a little story because when I was telling you there was groups that are coming up, one of the groups is dealing with people that are marginalized in society. This is the transgender, this is the gay, this is the lesbian, the LGBTQIA, this is the disabled, this is, a lot of things. And this group really wants to take and, help that community out. But more so, the person that is taking and putting this all together is doing so for the youth. So it's the people that are in high school, it's the people that are in elementary school that are struggling with all of the fear and all of the, mistrust and the doubt and everything that's going on. And they don't have the experience that we all have, with just what our age and, what we've learned. And so where do we go with that? Where do we go in helping those people up? I mean, especially the youth these days. They have to have some hope. So
Absolutely.
how do we get past that? How do we give them that and say, you know what? It's okay to be in the ice cream shop and take and sample as much as you want to and so on and so forth. And it's okay. You don't need to be this way. It's okay. How do we do that?
You break that barrier, the thing, by non-judgment, number one, very important. And the other one is to understand where they are at. Non-judgment is number one. Judgment is what separates us on thinking my religion is better than yours.
Yeah.
Or I am better than you are because I am such and such and you so and so. Yeah? So
Mhm.
judgment needs to stop because all of us are a divine design. I truly start understanding even more with more time, with gray hair that's growing more and more daily. That's a very important aspect of evolution. Now, what's the difference between judgment and observation? Very fine line. Judgment leads us into division and say, oh, he believes this way, or he wants to become this, or he believes in this, oh, now he likes only girls, and now she likes only girls, whatever is going on. That's judgment. It's their life, and we have to respect that. It's just, that's where they choose to live their lives. Remember, free will. Who are we to judge them? So judgment makes us only feel superior when we judge, or inferior when we cannot become like them. Think of those two. This is the only two things that we have, which is duality. Mind.
I had a teacher explain it to me like this years ago, and I thought it was so simple. And we're talking earlier about simplicity is best. Judgment is seeing something and wanting that person to be different. Observation is seeing what the person's doing and assessing whether or not it's making you safe or unsafe, and then making a decision to protect yourself. And by doing that from that perspective, changes the whole dynamic, the entire dynamic. You're doing what you're doing. Does it affect me? It's like I've always said, I don't care what you want to do as long as you're not asking me to sleep with you if I'm not attracted to you. I don't
That's
care
right.
who you
That's
find
right.
attractive. But
I said,
I do have to mention this really quickly. It's really interesting to me about the ice cream metaphor, because I had a prophetic message that was delivered to me years ago, and the message was this. There was a team of angels in an ice cream shop, and they're all behind this containers of ice cream, and they're there to serve just me. And I'm looking in this glass trying to pick a flavor, and the head angel goes, don't pick just one. You can have as many as you want, as often as you want, whenever you want. And every one of these ice creams is a gift, and we want you to have them all.
oh,
And that has set the tone for my entire spiritual mysticism trip, I guess, since then. So I just find that very intriguing that you brought that up as a metaphor. So,
yes, it's beautiful. Thanks for sharing that. It's kind of very much similar, the judgment. And Matt, you were saying, how do we reach these people? Number one is with let them be who they want to be, but it doesn't mean that they are less loved. Because a person knows when you love them. A person feels when you reach out and you want to really hear what they're saying. We know that. And that's the way we have to approach to certain things. We have to have the balance, and we have to have the discernment to understand what they are living, because these are the future of our planet Earth. They're like that because they haven't had guidance. We have to go back to their history, because the new paradigm of this world now, the youngsters, they're coming with the different wiring of their brain. They're acquiring. We can talk about forever in this subject about what's going on. But I'm glad that you brought the young people. They are so different, and all people, all tradition, all cultures are trying to put them in a box, and they go crazy because nobody understands these people. Nobody understands them, and therefore they'll give up. They feel lonely. They feel abandoned. How do you reach these people? Is through this type of programs, through this type of podcast, by being genuinely who you are, because you're a very caring being, and they do. Sometimes can be overwhelming, yes, but nevertheless, we can achieve together. This hopefully will trickle down into others. And by opening ourselves, I believe at this point in my life, I am in the most important journey of my life, because I'm preparing to go. And what do I want to leave as a legacy is this. all the years of preparation, all this mambo jumbo that I went through. Nothing is easy, right? But I wanted to leave a legacy. And this is what you, Deborah, Matt, beautiful Luan, we're living this. This, through the power of the word, of the voice, and our intention is going to trickle down. This is not going to be loose or like nothing happened here, because this is written in the Akashic records, by the way. So this is
Thank
not.
you for that. Thank you for reminding me of that. I needed that reassurance right now. So thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is not just our intentions, and I can see the beautiful intentions of all of us. We know our hearts. We're not experts. We're still learning. We're still in the process of learning, and but people will know we are trying to reach them out and leave a legacy, at least them where to go, that they can count with some other people like ourselves. They have a guide. They have a friend can explain them what's going on with them, because this is what's going on. This is very important. It's happening so much going on. All paradigms are dying. The cultural, the governmental aspect of that's dying. The financial world is changing. The educational system is shifting. Everything is collapsing. And it's going to create lots of fears, and it's going to create a lots of chaos. It's not easy. When you're feeling this fear, this uncertainty, that's what's going on, because we're seeing the collapsing, the crumbling of the old, because the new is coming. And we are that intermediaries between the new one, bridging to the new one, the newest, the new generation. We're in the middle. This
We
is
need
very important time.
we need to remind people that the phoenix comes out of the ashes. And so that
Love.
while there's a lot of things changing spiritually, politically, dynamically, that is also an opportunity to improve things, not make them worse necessarily. And
Exactly.
it frustrates me when I see things and read things where like, well, this is going to happen and it's going to be the end of democracy. Is it? Or is it going to be the improvement of democracy?
Something else. Yeah.
Yes, and so the negativity, I guess, is what is so oppressing right now. Instead of seeing the potential and the opportunities and the idea of growth, everybody seems to go to that dark side, that negative side. And
Yeah.
I just wish, that I could wave a magic wand and make all that, because it's all fear. It's all based on fear, and just rid people of that fear. But I have seen it time and time again in my own dreams, in my own downloads, my own messages. What we do is we extend a hand as far as we can reach out. And then we encourage that person that we've reached to do the same thing. And that's where we're going to truly impact and make a difference. Specifically, not just this year, but specifically this year is when we have an opportunity to make a lot of this shift. So that's what we're trying to do. And I think our podcast is a good way of doing that as well.
I love that shifting. I think this is a very nice word. Shifting and creating what's happening in the now, right?
Right.
What's the real, because we are the ones that, and I love somebody said we're the ones we were waiting for. And it is true. We need to know who we are, what we are made of. We need to reconnect with the heart.
And, if we don't do anything else but refuse to be part of the negativity, yesterday, I had someone on my Facebook. I'm a Facebook person. I love Facebook. And they just kept picking at me, pick, and I finally said, you need to go away. That was the first thing I said. You need to go away. I'm not going to change your mind. You're not going to change my mind. And you just want to argue. Go away. I'm not
Yeah,
going to argue you
yeah.
know so
There's a lot of distractions and a lots of obstacles that are happening, because what's happening, the light, the goodness of a spirit of this kind of work is increasing. So it's making very uncomfortable to people who want to live in the dark.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Extremely. And those people are going to make hell out of your life because that's the only thing that they know. So therefore, they don't see you as a light. They don't see you as a guide. They don't see you as the loving being who you are, but they see you as an enemy. They perceive you as an enemy.
Right.
We have to be prepared for these things, right? We don't have to put up with things nonsense. We have to stand up on our truth. And this is what's the guidance, the antenna that we have is our heart. Pray and constant reminder, and because we're still shifting. Myself, I'm going through lots of shifting. All of us are going through shifting, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's why I
Exactly.
drink cocoa with tequila.
Well, I
Well,
want
here's to
you,
you. Cheers.
I want you to let us know when you're doing another cacao. Is that a cacao? What?
Cacao.
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 Cacao. I can't speak English very well. Cacao ceremony, because I would love to do that. That sounds fascinating. And I'm just going to tell you, Mavi, I don't try everything just because it sounds fascinating, but that sounds very cool. I'd like to do that. I like anything that connects me back to our roots and nature.
Yeah.
With that said, let me tell you, people, I was dead. I died for 21 minutes. And don't be afraid because, the songs that we sing about comfort and joy, I got to experience it for 21 minutes, and there's nothing on this earth that compares. Nothing. But let's make this the best place we can while we're here.
Okay.
All right, Mavi, tell people how they can find you and where you are, they can see you and your Facebook or your website and all those good things.
Yes, my phone number is 214-477-7292. And I do have my Facebook is Creative Healings, Mavi. And what else? At the moment, my website is on the works.
Hmm.
But also I do also intuitive guidance and healings, energetic healings as well. So I do readings at the psychic fair as well, where we gather every month. And I do this also on the individual basis with some of my clients. I do energetic healings. I do energy readings, chakra readings, anything that's related to the energy body, and healings, of course. So basically that, they can reach me there, or they can ask Matt. Just kidding.
No, they
That's right.
can. You're right. They can.
You're right.
And
They
Matt,
can.
but Matt, my God, is a beautiful soul, gifted, very gifted being, as well as Deborah. It's been a
Oh,
pleasure. Oh my God, I want to hear about your story about when you were trying to check out. It's like, no, you gotta come
well,
back.
it was a wonderful experience, and my story is different from a lot of the stories because I was given a choice of whether to come back or to stay, and I decided to come back, but I was given specific instructions. If you go back, you got a lot of work to do,
Yeah,
and I've been doing it.
I'm glad. I'm glad you're here. And I didn't hear much from Luan, the beautiful soul. I'm so glad
Well,
to
I
hear this.
I like to soak up what you're hearing, what you're telling me. I probably have 1,000 questions later, but I like to hear what you're saying so I can process it. And one of the things I tell people is more than ever now, people want you to listen to them,
Mhm.
truly listen to them without judgment.
Mhm.
And I say that to a lot of people.
She's
Just
right.
listen without judgment. You don't have to agree with them. Just listen.
Yes.
But
Thank
she
you.
says that, and at the same time, she knows that if she says something stupid, I'm going to tell her she's wrong. So we have that kind of loving relationship.
Oh, that's so wonderful to have friends like this. This is fantastic. It's been a great honor to be with these magnificent souls. And I'm going to thank all the beings that were gathered today, creating this podcast and bringing us the inspiration of these topics. and may all beings benefit from this. And we thank you for all the blessings to come. Thank you. And please reach us out. And definitely, I'm going to be tuning in for more of this podcast. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Thank you, Mavi. It was
Thank
a
you very much. And honor, oh, a big hugs. Thank you, Matt. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
thank you. Thank
Have
you
a
so much.
wonderful day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Now, Matthew,
Yes.
Luann. Oh, she left. Okay. All right. Go ahead and tell them how to find you, Matthew.
People can find me at matthewapierce.com. That's my personalized website. And they can email me at matthew@matthewapierce.com. Sorry. I just want to say something in closing because I started getting emotional at the end because I've been having major conversations with a group of people that I met that is trying to help the youth and the trans community, the LGBTQIA community, where there wasn't an opportunity for people to go and talk or to get themselves out of there. And the center has now seen this massive increase in kids coming to them and saying, we don't know what to do. And the center is at a crisis right now because they don't have enough people to handle the requests and the issues that are coming up for the youth today because they're scared. They're scared, they don't know what to do, and they're feeling powerless. And it's just heartbreaking to not be able to think that, like, well, what can I do? How can I make a difference in this situation? And Luann, you said it so eloquently, just be there non-judgmental.
Right.
Just listen to what they're saying. Because I really believe that some of these kids, they don't really need a solution. They need to be heard.
I think it's very
They need to have
therapeutic.
yeah.
It's therapeutic for them to be able to tell their story and to tell how they're feeling. And sometimes that's what they need. That's what lots of people need, just to be able to tell how they're feeling without someone judging them.
Matthew, are they not getting any support from their family and parents and friends? Is that part of
Some
the
of these kids
problem?
know. Some of these kids know. They're not.
Because when the Council of Families had our center, we had several support groups for trans community, both adults and youth. And the thing that always impressed me so much with these support groups was that the parents were involved with the teens and how involved they were. And so I can't imagine being a teenager though and not having parental support. That's got to be awful.
It's yeah, I don't want to say much to give away a lot, but in this area, um, a lot of outcasts have been created
Uh,
just because the
breaking.
parents and they just can't support it. They cannot wrap their brain around their child not being who they were at birth.
Well,
You
that's
know
difficult. And they
that
need support too, so that they can be there for their
absolutely,
children. Um,
absolutely.
so I know you've got speakers booked for the next month. Maybe you could have someone in charge of this center come on the podcast,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
absolutely.
and we can discuss that because, that really goes hand in hand with who I've been for the past 30 years with mental health. Because children with mental health issues a lot of times don't get the support from their family. It's like, get out there and dig a ditch and work it off and be a better person type thing. And so we worked with the teens, but we also worked with the families so they understood how to be there for them. So
Yeah.
to me, it's the same principles, just different focus. So
Yeah. Well, I'll see what I can arrange there. But I mean, some of the messages that Mavi brought up today, just about the heart, and
Mhm.
I just I'm going to be on a little soapbox here. Okay. If there's anyone out there that doesn't feel listened to, that doesn't feel that they can talk to anyone, talk to me. Okay. I have this philosophy of 8 minutes. 8 minutes of my life is nothing if it's going to keep you here.
Right, right.
So
And
contact me.
our center had a suicide hotline for years, and we discontinued it when we closed the center down. But sometimes I regret that. I do. But okay, Luann, tell us about you, babe.
I have Ancient Herbal Apothecary. I have a website by that name. I have a Facebook by that name. And if you need to get in touch with me, you can email me at Luann, that's Luann, at ancientherbalapothecary.com.
All right. I am Deborah Colleen Rose. And if y'all ever want to be on our podcast, just contact one of us on Facebook or via email, and we would love to talk to you about coming on. Our sponsor is Smiles of Smiles Events and Entertainment. I guess I don't know why we're the sponsor. It just kind of started out that way. Okay.
Yeah.
You
Uh,
claimed it, so
yeah.
we'll run with it.
Yeah. Private Investigations is Investigative Solutions Group, ISGU.com, and Spiritual Coaching is Deborah Colleen Rose. That's all me. And later on, we'll start talking about our website when we're meeting groups with the mysticism. And so anyway, we all have a lot going on because we're all very focused on making this a better place. So there's a lot of things we all have our thumbs in. So until next week, who's our guest next week? Do you know?
His name's Caleb. He is a hypnotherapist, but he specifically does methods inside of past life regression
Oh,
to help do current healing. So,
awesome.
Great.
All right. We look forward to it. And until then, y'all just keep on trucking. Keep on trucking.
Bye
bye,
now.
everybody.
Bye. I can't make it work. Here we go.